You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review. I had my trusty sidekick now. Oh, hey, there he is. My trusty sidekick today is the third stringer quarterback of Reza Riffs, who desperately wants to be promoted to the second string. The second string has a hurt ankle, so he won't be riffing with us today.
Wait, hold on. He can't talk because of his ankle problems? Is his mouth on his ankle too, or?
I know. I'm just trying to tell. I'm just trying to tell the folks at home the injury report. Like, come on, guys.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is bullshit. Yeah, I can't do this. I can't do this podcast today, dude. I have a headache.
The great Victor Pacheco's here.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Keith. Sorry for interrupting my fucking intro. That's not going to happen during today's show.
No worries. And our guest just is in the waiting room, but we should probably introduce him to wait, I got confused because two people are now in the waiting room. But we should probably introduce our guest. You've seen him in Watchmen. You've seen him in Mighty Ducks Game Changer. You've seen him in so many things. Mulligans, which is one of my favorite. I don't like to admit this, but it's one of my favorite movies. It's like Brokeback Mountain, but golf, not on a ranch.
Brokeback Mountain, not with golf, not on a ranch.
Yeah. Well, we'll ask him. I love it.
Nice.
And then he has a new movie coming out, which I had the name, and then it's called Corrective Measures. That's it. It's with Bruce Willis. We have the great Dan Payne coming in.
Nice. And, super stoked.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to let Dan Payne in. And I'm assuming his manager wants me to let him in, too, because there's two names on it. Oh, I don't know. We'll just let them both in. Okay. So we're connecting to Dan Payne with the audio.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Dan. How are you, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing good. We just gave you a sweet-ass intro.
Any of it true?
No, yeah. I said here's the intro. I said you've seen him on Watchmen, you've seen him on the Mighty Ducks Game Changer, and my favorite movie, Mulligans. And then I said it's like Brokeback Mountain, but with golf.
That's pretty bang on. That's awesome.
Yeah. Dan, let me introduce you to Victor. Victor's the trusty sidekick. He's like the dollar bill to my Watchmen.
Right on. Nice to meet you, brother.
Great to meet you, brother.
Yeah. So, Dan, I don't know if you know this, but we, all three of us, we have something in common. We have two things in common, actually. One, we're all good looking, you know?
I mean, as long as nobody else is going to dispel that because we're just here, it's just us. Absolutely. Because there might be some naysayers. There might be. And, screw them.
So we're three good looking dudes.
Yeah.
And then on a serious note, we all three of us suffer from a form of depression.
Well, there you go.
So we have two great, things going our way, all three of us.
Hopefully we got a third one that we're all on a journey towards our mental health.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yes, and then the fourth one, we're all going to be best buds after this.
Done. Drinking buddies. I don't know what we'll be drinking, but we'll be something. It'll be good.
Yeah. So how you doing, man? I wanted to first talk about your career, then we'll go into the depression, then we'll go back to talking about your career. But first, how you holding up during these crazy 2.5 years?
I'm doing all right. I mean, it's a roller coaster. I'm sure everybody's on the same ride, but it comes down to support crew. I've got an amazing wife. My two kids are like absolute rock stars. And if I keep my focus and perspective, then we're on the upside of the roller coaster. And then if I get inside this thingy here, sometimes I go down. Just maintaining an equilibrium between the inside and the outside, the external and the internal. Do my best. How about you?
I'm doing good. I mean, but I wanted to ask you, like, how is it like on sets right now, like with the protocols? Like, has it changed a lot?
It's an interesting environment. Like, I personally one of the things I'm trying to do is make space for everybody. And it feels like this pandemic has been so polarizing and divisive that it's such a tough topic to bring up, because there are a lot of protocols in place, and we do get, strangely isolated on set. And then some people have privileges that others don't. Like, obviously we can't talk with masks on and perform with masks on. It just creates a little bit more, it can create more tension if it becomes more of a point of contact or a point of interest versus just being a work environment that we all have to do our best in. Yeah. So I'm personally, every day on set's a great day. I love it. I just try and make sure we make space and enjoy what we're doing. Because we're still making movies, which is the dream for me, and I love it. And as long as everybody's having fun doing it, then we're good.
Yeah, because Victor and I, we're not actors like you. We have PDH degrees in stand-up comedy.
PDH.
Yeah.
Keith has a PDH. I have a PhD.
So,
Dan, you're. If you didn't say anything, I was just about to.
No. So,
wait, are you dyslexic too?
Hey man, don't joke. It affects 5 out of 3 people. All right.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just talking about my cousin who has dyslexia. No, I wasn't trying to trivialize it. I was just Keith
no.
Keith is one of my good friends.
You know what though? We have to. I mean, some of my coping has always been having a laugh and joking, and is whatever, sometimes whatever gets you through, and never to trivialize, but only to help manage. For me, it's only about managing, right? Yeah. Laughter is a hell of a medicine. So.
Oh no, definitely. Like that's why I love podcasting, because I also have a form of autism called Asperger's. So like, when I started doing stand-up comedy, I was very non-social, and then the more I did it, I became more social. And the podcasting really helped me read people better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is we do stand-up comedy, and the COVID protocols now is do jokes and get sick, risk getting sick.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I'm just saying it's different.
The film industry, they got everything covered, right? We're getting tested. If you're on a show, you're getting tested 2-3 times a week. And
So yeah. I wanted to ask you, because you started your career as a professional volleyball player, and then you're volleyballing, right? And then when did you say, you know what, I'm over volleyball, I want to be an actor?
I mean, it sounds like a logical progression, right? Volleyball actor.
Yeah, because that's how The Rock started, except he did it with wrestling, right?
Yeah, and football.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. Well, for me, my body went, hey, this hurts too much, so let's not do that anymore. And so that was the pro sports wrap up. And I absolutely love the demand, the performance demand of being in front of an audience in a crowd and doing something I love doing. And my brother is, he's like you guys. He's very funny, also handsome.
Oh, excellent.
2 for 2. And he does a lot of comedy and writes and stuff. So we would work together and perform shows like we worked on Resort Islands, and we'd put up shows he was a photographer and had concessions. We'd put up shows. So we wrote and performed shows to get more options or opportunities for photographs for resort goers and guests to get memories from their trips. And that was like the first bite of being on stage. And I once bitten, I couldn't turn around. I couldn't go back. I just was absolutely all in, and it just progressed from there.
Did you do a lot of because I know you're Canadian, did you do a lot of Canadian films to get, your start?
I actually started in London, England. So I did a few things no offense again, but I played the big dumb American in a bunch of shows.
Oh, so you played Victor.
Yeah. Victor, but not as handsome, maybe a bit taller.
Oh, significantly smaller and significantly way more handsome.
No subjective, not even worth mentioning. But definitely taller. I'm a freak. But in London, I got to get, I did a Vietnam movie, and they just basically went, all right, you're going to get the lines that make you seem a little bit unaware, and you're going to have the big gun. So the big gun, the dump,
Yeah.
And a couple commercials, and just getting some more experience on set and learning how to fall on my face a lot, because I didn't know anything. I went in with a heck of a lot of full of passion and no kind of awareness. But I'm also the guy who believes just trial by fire. I'll learn by trying. Trial and error.
I think that's the way everyone learns these things. I've tried to do some acting, and I think I did stand up to get into acting, as a vehicle. But then as I did stand up, I'm kind of I don't want to do acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If you find your world though, it's performance. I think it's just a different vehicle to help you with your creative outlet.
Yeah.
And for you, you're killing it at stand up, and that's the thing that brings you the joy. And
well, I didn't say killing it. I'm doing my best, but
come on, if we're gonna take the handsome mantle, we got to take the killing it mantle too, right? That's
I was just trying to say I like the fire. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the fire that builds the passion that keeps me going. Hey, Victor, why is there steam behind you? Are you on fire?
Are you implying I look flaming? No, that's a joint. That's a joint that I'm trying to be discreet about, which I saw that. I'm like, oh God, please don't notice that. But I'm just like, oh God, I hope he doesn't think I'm getting stoned. I actually have an injury right now. And so I'm trying to not be like, oh, fuck her. It has nothing to do with you. It's just me. I'm just a big oaf. And so I started laughing while you're talking about I played the big dumb American. I'm like, fuck, am I really a big dumb American? That's the first time I've ever been called that without the word Mexican. So, I I speak like a white guy, but
I can't wait for Victor. I got to put my camera off, and then just to hear it comes back.
Never self-conscious. Yeah, and also, I don't know why Keith lumped me and him in the good-looking category, because you're a nice guy, plus you're Canadian, and so you're not going to say, oh, sorry, folks. Yeah. You're not handsome, or at least not traditionally handsome. Sorry.
Here's the thing, man. I'm grateful for any compliment, because it helps fill that void, right? And we're going to get to that later. But man, it's such a subjective thing. What I love is that handsome comes in any shape and size. That's the thing. So you guys are handsome as hell, and if you think I am, then I'm grateful for the compliment. I don't know.
I'm looking at you all these different pictures. I'm looking to ask good questions, which I haven't got to yet. But I'm looking at you and I'm like, wow, this guy's really hot. And I'm a straight guy. I'm very, very, secure with who I am and confident. It's just I could recognize a guy. He probably gets hella babes. And then when you have two kids, I was just of course. At least
Dan, you should hear what he said about me when I first met him.
Oh yeah.
We were in a green room. We were in the green room of a comedy club. So it wasn't being recorded for the masses. It was between two asses. And we just had a good time. And it was Keith diagnosed me with autism the first time we met. The doctors never called me autistic. Keith did. Within 5 minutes of talking to me. And I'm like, why? He's like, you're very blunt and you're very free flowing with your words. I'm like, oh, then I guess everyone in my family is autistic then too, because
there's something beautiful about that blunt though. You don't have to guess. You never wonder where you stand. You don't know, you don't have to, there's a lot less gameplay. I don't know. I dig it. I dig it. Yeah.
You were casted as the handsome executive, and it's a very merry Muppet Christmas movie. You were like a Adonis. So I have a question. What do you have any advice to give not so good looking people to feel empowered and maybe feel good looking? Or is it just a mindset? Because you actually look good looking. So is there any tricks for us not as good looking dudes as yourselves?
But that doesn't mean us, because we're good looking. We're the folks at home listening.
He's an Adonis. He's an Adonis. We might be handsome, but he's an Adonis.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The best marble.
For
That's
all
Marvel.
so I think Victor's trying to rephrase the question for the all not so good looking people listening.
I'm gonna have to pay my PR people more because this is the best compliment fest ever. I love it. Thank you. And I think I've never. This is gonna be tough to answer now because now I don't want to sound like a jackass, but I've never considered myself anything other than just me. Like I don't put. Other than tall, I mean, that one it's pretty obvious. If I walk around and I'm a head taller than people, I will say, yeah, I'm tall. But when it comes to handsome and whatnot, I have always forever deferred to others. If somebody was happy and felt comfortable enough saying something complimentary in that way to me, I was extremely grateful and very welcoming of it because I usually needed it, not feeling like I struggle with self-worth. But the trick for me is to always I'm learning to be happy with me. Like I used to need that external and now I'm just grateful for it, but I used to need it. I used to struggle so much with I never still don't feel handsome. I want to feel, you said it, Victor, you said it, you feel secure. That is that is handsome. That's attractive. That is infinitely more sexy than a shit ton of other things, brother. Like that security of self, which I'm looking for, that to me would create infinitely more handsome and infinitely more attractive than some pure physical exterior aesthetic, because that one changes, man. Like again, thank you so much for the incredible compliments. I love it and I'm so grateful, and I'm gonna have a big dumb smile on my face, not a big dumb American smile, just a normal one.
That makes me feel good. That makes me feel so good. I meant it. You know that's from the heart. Like this shit is not scripted. I'm just okay. I have a list of questions.
Well, I appreciate it, though. I appreciate
it. They're definitely from a place because I'm looking at you and I'm like, if I saw you in a green room at a comedy club, I'd be like, that guy is going to kill it tonight. He's very handsome. So even if he has nothing to say, all eyes are going to be on him extra. Because like a guy like you, like I have to be 20 times funnier than you to get 10% of your attention.
Or you might look at me and be like, if I was to take your perspective that you think I'm a decent looking fella, you might look at me in a green room and go, that guy is probably super unfunny and hung like a blowfly because there's no right that you can't.
No, I would think the exact opposite.
You only get one thing. You only get people always say like, I just signed up twice for height. That's all. That's all I did.
How tall are you?
6'4".
6'4". Jesus.
6'4" and yeah.
So does the carpet match the drapes?
Victor, why don't
with hardwood?
Victor, why don't you ask Dan about his OnlyFans?
What's the saying? You got to trim the hedges to make the deck look bigger, guys. Come on.
Oh man, that's probably a swinging hammer. That's for sure.
Hey, Dan, I actually did have a serious question for you. So when you started doing acting, you did little parts, and then you got bigger parts in like TV movies. I would say Hallmark movies type of thing, And now, so like, how is that transition for you? Like, as you're growing as an actor?
Well, so I set a dream of being a lead in a movie, Hallmark's, Lifetimes, or even like a crazy one where I get to work with Bruce Willis and Michael Rooker. But the incremental, you can't get there in one fell. Like it's pretty rare that you get there in one leap, right? You're going to take step by step. So it was just a natural progression. Nobody knows you. You got to build the confidence and earn the trust of the casting directors and the directors and the producers and whatnot. So you start out doing the smaller roles and you have to crush them. Like you have to treat them as professionally and have the same approach you would for a lead role. You don't show up going, oh, it's one line, whatever, I'll just say it. You do the homework, you get prepared, and you do it like it's a lead role. And because I want to earn that same, I got to create that mentality now. It's the same way how I became an athlete. You create that mentality on the entry level stuff so that it's there when you got the big league stuff. So the smaller ones, the smaller roles, I treated them like they were massive roles. Because for me at that moment, they were massive roles. They were stepping stones to get to the next level. And every time I got a new opportunity, I loved it because then the same way I got the nerves of stepping on the floor to perform, like to play volleyball against Team USA or whoever with their big dumb smiles. And then
also handsome guys,
wickedly handsome, and son of a bitch, they were taller than me usually. So that was just
human growth hormone.
Right?
It's in our milk. I'm 6'2" and I'm Mexican. I should be 5'2". Something's in the milk.
Say
Something's
what?
in the milk. There's something in the milk here in America. My dad is 5'9". My mom is 5'6", and I'm 6'2".
Crazy.
And I look like my dad. It isn't one of those like, oh, you're the mailman's kid. Well, there's no Mexican mailman in my name. Okay. They're all Filipino and white, and that's it. But whatever. Not discriminating. Just just live in the suburb. Or my parents live in the suburbs. I'm just visiting for Easter.
At 6'4", I've got a 10-year-old who's already 5'4" at 10.
5'4"? Oh my God!
At 10 years old, I'm scared of like I'm like listen, you little, like that's gonna. Oh boy.
He's screwed at any parties he goes to where there are pinatas and they get lined up from shortest to tallest. He's screwed. Yeah, he's last. He's last. That's it. There's gonna be a couple of
I actually had to get he had to get his birth certificate for a hockey game because he was a helmet taller than everybody, and they're like, that kid is not. No. And I was like, he is. I'm the coach. That's my son. They're like, what? Oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Anyway,
speaking of hockey, you strike me as someone who plays hockey.
I do. I love hockey, man. That's my cathartic athletic outlet right now.
Yeah. I've never played, but I watched the Mighty Ducks.
I'm 8'7" on skates. No,
yeah. But
dude, that's scary. That's really scary. Like without shoes, that's scary. With oh my God, the hockey skates. I mean, that's why Canadians have universal health care. Because they because like us Americans were like, oh yeah, how fast is your car? How much do you make? And it's like, no, Canadians are like, yeah, I'll beat your ass at hockey, bro. And like real man stuff. And it's like we're just like, oh, what can I buy? What have I manipulated in our capitalistic society to be able to exploit something that looks so luxurious like a car? But
that's an interesting. I mean, I don't know if we're that far off of that. I think we're just nicer about it.
Yeah.
You mind if I buy that excessively overpriced thing that I don't need? I think it's more of a kind of, I don't know.
Another thing is like about hockey, which I find it fascinating because if you look at like the stats and stuff, Americans, they don't know how to beat people up with a stick.
What?
Like I'm just saying. Because like the hockey is in Canada,
and then only get 2 minutes in a penalty box for it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
I once heard hockey described as you get a club and two blades, a club, and 100-mile-an-hour projectile, and they call it a sport. Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield has the best hockey joke. It's like, yeah, I went to a fight the other day and a hockey game broke out.
Exactly. That's a good.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know any other hockey jokes.
Now, Dan, I wanted to translate to something a little serious. So yeah, with the before I start this, no, I'm not. But before I start this, when your people hit up me to do the show, I said yes, and I told my sister. And my sister was like, Keith, do not fuck this interview up. I was like, why? And she's like, because his peeps represent Hayden Purse or something. Like it's a girl that my sister loves.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, you could get Hayden if you do great. I was like, what?
I hope we're doing all right for you, brother. I hope we're doing all right.
But like, so I feel like I fucked this up for my sister. That's what
you should have learned Hayden's last name, dude. What the fuck? She's not gonna do it now. She's not gonna do it now.
No, of course she'll do it. I'll ask nicely. But what I'm saying is my sister put so much pressure on this.
I'll apologize to sorry. Hey sister, I'm sorry I'm a terrible interview. It's my bad.
No, I'm a terrible interview.
I apologize. Also, Victor's high as balls. So it's
no, I'm not. I'm happy as balls.
No, but my sister did say that she did want me to tell you that she loved doing in Wonderland or Alice in Wonderland type thing. What was that called?
Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, Once Upon a Time. She said she loved that show. So
cool. Yeah, that was a fun one.
So, but my serious question is this: like when you're doing acting and stuff, because I don't know about you, like when I do stand-up comedy. and if I do good, I feel great. But when I do bad, I'm very, very sad for like 2 weeks. When you do acting, do you feel like maybe if you like screwed up on a part, or you feel like maybe you weren't good enough to do more, like does that haunt you, and how do you like recover from that?
Yeah, cool question, brother. Yes, when I do well, or I feel like I've done well, or I get good feedback about something, I definitely am riding a high. I enjoy that. And that's part of the euphoric state of being, in bliss for what I do. But there is the other side of it. The difference, I think, for me was, for you on stand-up, you don't have a director who goes, cut, that was trash, let's go again. And not that they've ever said that, but like they'll go cut, hey, and they'll give you some notes and they'll be like, that's cool. I love where you're going, but let's try a little bit of this and that. And they'll pepper in some more sauces for you to mix in, and you get another chance. So, and they won't move on because there's a tiered hierarchy of having it to be successful. Starting with casting. So casting directors want it to work because they bring in the people they think will make it work. And then they cast you, and then the director will help you manage it on the day, and the editor will then put it together in a way that makes what the director gave them work. And then, so you have a lot of fail safes in place to make sure that you're going to be successful enough to not have the major fall. Now, that being said, so no director will move on until they get the shot they need, because they're on the line to tell the story. That's nice, because you know that you're just going to be able to give it your best. And that gives you, if you recognize that, it gives you a sense of peace and freedom to try. Because if you fail, the director's there to go, hey, cool, I saw what you were doing there, but for this story arc, or for what I'm trying to do, or my vision, I need a little more of this. That's awesome. That being said, I've watched things that I've done and I've gone, I wish I was a little bit more vulnerable in my effort to allow myself to be more free to tell that story in a slightly different way. That being like, so I'm seeing that because I'm inside my own head and I know what I was thinking on that day and what I was doing. The external vision, and I love it. I have a wife who's very, very, I said, you get blunt. She's very blunt. And I appreciate it, because then there's no, I know where I stand. So I go, hey, how was that, babe? And she's like, it was all right. And I know when she says that, she's saying, I did my job. It showed up. I told the story and I moved it along, and nobody's going to be like, why does that guy ever work? I hope. Anyway. But I know that I've seen exactly what she said. I wasn't as present or as vulnerable as I wish I could have been at that moment. And that's down to me doing my homework. I think what you do is so much harder. I think it is incredibly honorable and unbelievable to go up on stage and be as, like, you're stripped naked. You're vulnerable as can be. And comedy is subjective. And you don't have a director going, cut. Hey, so maybe 3 beats between the joke and the punchline. That might, that's all feel, and your live action feed off of a crowd. That's an art form, dude. That's a completely unbelievable, like, kudos to you. So,
well, thank you. While you were saying that, I was just like, because you said your wife's very blunt. I was like, we should get her on the Zoom. I could diagnose her with autism. But no,
I'm having deja vu over here.
Yeah, but no, I thank you for the compliment, but I do disagree about comedy being subjective. I don't think comedy is subjective. I think what's funny is funny. Just everyone has different types of subjective humor. I think that's a better translation to it, because I feel it's either funny or it's not. And if people who don't think it's funny, it just means their humor is just wired in a different direction.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the same way with acting too, because I'm sure when you're acting, if they give you, like, you read a script and you're thinking, I don't think my character will like say that. Like, do you ever turn into a way that you think the character will say in your point of view?
Yeah, through discussion. So I have a script supervisor, and again, from my pro sports world, I always want to honor the writer. So in the same way that they wrote it, they put that work in, my job is to tell that story. So if there's something that I'm struggling with, or I'm marble mouthing a line, or it's not resonating with me in terms of trying to get the intention of that line across to the other character, I will ask the director, and if the script supervisor's there, and if the writer's there, even better, if I can change it. And if I can't change it, I've often had amazing directors give me a better insight into the line so that it makes more sense for me and I can say it in a way that tells the story for me as an actor as well as for the writer, and I don't have to change anything. But it all comes down to a discussion.
And then when you get rejected for parts, because I mean, you know, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I've auditioned for stuff. I get rejected every single time. So I wanted to, like, your success rate, you have a lot of work. So you've hit a lot of, you know, yeses, but I'm sure you've gotten a lot of no's. So I wanted to see, like, how do you like stay on the horse on that?
So, yeah, this is an industry based on no. And I'm very fortunate to be in a position to teach now. And I tell the young actors and the actors that I work with that it's not about booking the role. It's about buying tickets back into the room because your time will come. It's in a way a war of attrition. You have to love this job enough to know that the journey has to be a very big part of the joy. And the icing on the cake is when you book. And the way that I dealt with it, I never took it personally. Like, they never said, Dan Payne, you suck. Maybe they did, but they were very, very subtle about it. I didn't hear it. Right. But what I did get notes from or understanding from is when I walked out, I was like, okay, my choices didn't resonate for them. That doesn't make me lesser. It means that I didn't choose. I believe you have to make strong choices. So I made strong choices that didn't resonate with the director or the producers or the casting director or whomever. And they, you know, it was a rejection based on that. So it's never personal. It's based on my performance and my choices in that performance and what I did. If I took it personally, I think it would be a lot more difficult. I don't know if that's just a protection tactic or what, but it made more sense to me that I'm going to make choices based on the best homework I can do. And once I've put it to a place where I'm comfortable and confident to provide or put it up in front of a casting director or directors, then that's the best that I can do. And if it doesn't work out, those are my choices that are being rejected, not me, Dan Payne, the individual. I'm creating a character. And that's how I dealt with it. I don't know, right or wrong, that's how I dealt with it.
Do you ever feel, this question's going to sound weird, but I mean it from a true, I'm just going to ask it. If it sounds weird, I apologize. Do you feel that people with like I'm a fella, you know what I mean? I'm a guy, I think, like, you know, and, you know, when I tell people like I'm sad or, you know, like I'm having, because like I lost my best friend about 6 months ago. He was the guy I toured with, and I've had a very tough time coping with it. I mean, you could ask Victor, like, you know, I call Victor all the time crying. And I feel that people maybe think that since I'm a guy, that's not very manly. You know what I mean? So I was wondering, do you ever have, like, how do you get past that? Do you ever have that feeling sometimes?
First of all, I'm so sorry for your loss, bro. And yeah, one of the reasons why I talk about the things that I'm going through is because there's a horrible stigma attached that you just mentioned, that you're not supposed to cry if you're a man or feel sad or ask for help or any of those things. And I absolutely 100% disagree.
Yeah.
I think that emotion is something being processed within you, and you shouldn't fight that. Like, it feels good to learn to deal with something so that you can function or be even more successful or even get to the point where you're thriving. Man, I don't know if this helps, but I cry all the time, and I don't see it as a weakness, or I don't see it as I shouldn't because I'm a man. I see it as the fact that I'm starting to understand myself better and understand that emotions are an absolute part of who I am and a part of being human. And it doesn't matter whether you're wherever you are on the gender scale in any way, shape, or form. If you feel something, you should be entitled to and allowed to feel it. It's absolutely justified because it's something that it's going through you. Why negate it or block it? It's going through you for a reason. And man, you suffered a hell of a loss that is going to affect you. Let it affect you in a way that you can grieve properly, mourn properly, and find some. I think there's something on the other side of those tears, you know, but you have to have them to find the other side.
I think in my experience, it's going to be very difficult to move on with the grief because, like I said, I toured with him and I did the same field, and it was Norm Macdonald. And it was just, So I feel like that's something that I'll never move on from, because I do stand up, and now I'm always going to be associated with Norm. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm never going to have a healthy chance to move on unless I retire from stand up. And I don't want to do that because I like making people laugh,
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I hope that, and the fact that you're talking about it right now, I think is incredible. And thank you for sharing that. I think that talking about it.
I just wanted to save you from Googling me.
Too late, my man. Too late. Too late. I like to do my homework. I like to do my due diligence. But at any rate, man, I think talking about it, and I know that it was very kind of you to share where you're at right now, but I think talking about it, especially Victor, thank you. Like, everybody needs a Victor, somebody they can call, somebody they can talk to and share and vent, release, process, all these things. I hope that in talking about it, because you're doing that, you're talking about it, that you can find a place where you can get the memory of Norm to be something that you get to honor by doing what you do and continue to do. Like carry the torch for him in a way that he can no longer, by honoring the memory or whatever it is, like you process it for you and get to a place that works for you. I don't know. I mean, I go to a therapist, dude. I go to somebody to talk to them because they're professionals who help me get my head around things like that. But in my world, and I'm grateful for it, because otherwise I could sit in here and make a whole big mess.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to do stand-up comedy? Because I think you should, and let me open for you. I need a job.
I think I should open, and it's not filmed or recorded in any way, shape, or form, and then you go on a headline. And then, honestly, just by juxtaposition, you wouldn't have to do much to be seen like the funniest man on the planet. It'd be great.
Oh no! If I opened for you, I'll be bad. I don't care. I just.
Well, if you set the bar low enough, I might be able to.
Yeah, I just need to find a new Norm, and you're Dan. So, hey, Dan. Hey, buddy.
Oh, I'd be honest. Listen, I'll have to get my brother, who I think is like funny like you guys. I'll get my brother to come out and then write for me. And then I love acting. I'll just perform it like I'm an actor. I'll pretend to be a stand-up comedian. Then we're good.
Me and Victor could write you jokes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Victor,
man. You got any questions for the great Dan Payne?
Absolutely. So you're definitely a huge advocate for mental health. But there's a lot of people that get their ideas about mental health from mainstream media and entertainment. How is mental health being depicted on television and film that you would like to see change to give a better understanding of how depression affects everyday people? If you want to repeat that again, it's kind of like long-winded.
No, I love it. I think it's getting better. I think because people are talking about it a bit more and realizing that it's not an obscure, minute or minor group of people that have to deal with some mental health issues. I think that the recognition of the fact that this is more common than we'd like to admit, which is helping reduce the stigma. I think in reducing the stigma, you don't have to, what's the word? Not glorify it, but it doesn't have to be this hyperbolous, crazy thing to make a great story on TV. Like depression, I think some of the most depressed people might be the funny, smiling, happy people in a room, because they're completely masking the fact that inside they're dying. So it's really hard to depict that on TV unless you're doing a show about somebody who's struggling with depression, and we can see them wear that mask of the big smile and the happy, goofy, go lucky thing. And I know that that's how a lot of me keeping it hidden, because I feared the stigma. I didn't want to be seen as broken, or I didn't want to be discovered as broken. That I would pretend to be that everything's okay and laugh and try and be the, life of the party. But that's a really tough one to show on TV. So I hope that, and I don't know how, I think it's getting better. I think it's less, I don't know how to say, it's less Hollywood. Like it's less like over dramatized to make a point that, oh my God, that person's depressed, or that person's anxious, or that person's bipolar. It's not the obvious tropes of those things, but it's more the subtle realities that it could be your best buddy or your neighbor and you don't even know.
One of the things I always, I actually tell Victor this all the time, is I'm a big fan of saying I love you, even if I don't even mean it. You know what I mean? Because And
What?
I'm just saying, because like
You had me all the way up until the last bit there. You had me.
Yeah, you don't say it unless you mean it. That's the whole point of love. That's the whole point of love.
yeah, but like I feel if you just let people know that, you know, I love you, you know, it's not really a like, because I love Victor like a brother, like an actual brother, but he's not my actual brother. And I love you like an actual brother, but I've never met you except on Zoom. You know what I mean? So like I'm a big believer in letting people know that they're loved, because I feel that if people aren't alone, whatever they're dealing with, they're not alone. And I feel if they know that they're loved, then it says, okay, you can keep going to this journey on the battlefield. You know,
I love that. And I'm gonna throw I love you too for that alone. That's a beautiful thing. I love, so my friends and you're also breaking down the stigma with doing that, right? Because you guys don't say I love you to other guys unless there's something. No, you can just love people and you can tell them that, and it's cool and it's okay. I'm grateful that in the recent years, and I don't know how many, last decade, that my best friends in my circle, we do say that. All right, I love you, brother. See you soon. And that didn't happen before that. I remember in university, there's no way I would tell my friends like, hey man, I love you, see you. Because they would have like, it would have been a record scratch like, you know?
Yeah.
That was a great imitation of a record scratch.
I have a future in Walla if this acting thing doesn't work out.
Now,
I'm
Dan,
saying you could definitely do stand up. Definitely do stand up, man. Like I said, I can already picture in the green room. I watched. I looked at a lot of the videos on your Facebook, and I'm like, this guy's really likable. This guy's like, you make mental health sexy. So I'm like you should be. Like, I don't know, like if there was like Depression Weekly, like, you know, it'd be like the poster boy, like that, yeah, the depression's hot this week, or like what, or like, you know, or this month or this year, like, you know, it needs to be celebrated. Because like, no, for real, I was just trying to be funny there, but in reality though, I really do think that you are destigmatizing mental health issues that people might have by just talking about and being so open yourself. And I'm like, oh shit. Because like from the outside looking in, because like I never had much self-esteem, so I'm looking at you from the outside in. I'm like, dude, this fucking handsome white gentleman right here, he's the American dream, you know. I like, this guy's like, what the fuck's he got to be depressed about? But I'm just like listening to like everything that you're going through with acting, and it's like very similar to stand-up, and your passion for acting is on the same level with me and Keith, because you, like, the way we see it is we treat every time that we get stage time like an audition. Somebody, that audience is potentially going to hire you, whether it's that venue or somebody else, like, oh yeah, we're having a bachelor party, or my cousin's getting married, or like it's my brother's birthday party, or, you know, like, oh, you'd be great for this. And so you get hired for other things, not just for a traditional stand-up show. Like I've had two couples ask me to marry them. So I became an ordained
like a
minister.
polygamy thing. Okay, cool.
And Dan, just so you know, I had a couple ask me to diagnose them with autism, so I get it all the
time. There you go. And Victor, if I can just speak to that whole thing, and I appreciate you bringing it up, that I don't know if you can hear my dog. I apologize. The one thing that so talking about it is important to me, because I didn't talk about it, and it kept me in the dark, and it kept me in a place I don't want to be anymore. So I want to talk about it, if that just on the off chance that it helps somebody else find that same courage, strength, or opportunity, whatever it is, and they have a Victor like you do, Keith, to call and just go, hey man, I'm not good, and move it forward. But depression or mental health does not give a shit what you look like, how much you make, where you're from, what your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever looks like. It does not matter. And that's, again, another reason why I tried to keep it quiet, because I heard what you said, Victor, but from people who didn't have an understanding or an awareness, they were just like, dude, bullshit. Like, they were literally kind of saying, shut up, man. You're not allowed to be depressed.
No.
you're 6'4" playing on the volleyball team at the university, and you're dating that girl that we, blah, 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 fuck you. And I was like, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's the part that they didn't mean to. And they had no malicious intent, but they just had no awareness and understanding. And I hope by talking like we are, that there's an awareness and understanding, enough so that somebody else goes, yeah, screw it. I'm going to take a chance and tell my buddy or my best friend or my loved one that I'm not doing so good. Yeah.
Dan, I want to respect your time, but I do have 3 more questions. Is that cool?
I'm here. You got me, man. I'm here till you.
Okay, cool.
Get the hell out. Yeah.
I know like the 45-minute segment, I don't want to say, hey, how much for overtime? I don't want to do that. but no, like this is very serious stuff. And like that's why like I do comedy, because like, we're having a lot of laughs and stuff. But the point of the interview, I think my sister might think this is, I fucked up this interview, but I actually think this is a great interview, because I feel we're talking about major stuff, but we're also letting people know it's okay to laugh.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like, I love that. It was a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
But also a relief. Like, it's a relief valve. It's a release. Like smiling, like Victor's giant, beautiful smile, that makes other people smile.
Yeah, that's my meme. Whenever I'm not getting laughs, I play his giant smile.
There you go, right? But just there's a science behind smiling, creating the endorphins that make you feel better. And if you're going to laugh and feel good, you're going to feel better. And even if it's for a minute, that's a reminder of the fact that you can feel better. So I agree 1,000%. And I used it as a coping mechanism and a refuel for that emptiness I felt inside. Sure. It's not going to sustain me forever. I've got to do the work, and I've got to go talk to a therapist and do the things that I need to do for me. And everybody's got to find out what it is they have to do for them. Go visit a naturopath. I've done that too. Find out if your chemical levels are out. Just do what you got to do. But the laughter, as to go back to the main thing, yeah, man, laughter is a medicine in its own right. I'm grateful for what you guys do. I love the fact that I've been able to sit here and laugh. And I know we're talking about serious stuff, but I feel good.
Yeah. I could get a sense of that, because I could read energy, and like usually like people who I interview, it's either they love me, like best interview ever, I want to do it, or they say, block this guy's email, I don't ever want to do it. And I don't think I'm gonna get a block. You know what I mean? I might not get hated, but I might get hey.
Wait. Hey, PR people, please. Not charged for the overtime on this one. I love Keith and Victor.
So my 3 last questions. My sister actually wanted me to ask you this. She says, Dan, because that's your name. She says, Dan, what was it like holding Thor? I don't know his name. His name's Chris whatever, but I say Thor because I know him from Thor.
Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that's what she wrote, but I know him as Thor.
So I think she's talking back to Cabin in the Woods. And yeah. So I got to meet Thor before he was Thor. And he's annoying as hell because he is ridiculously good looking, fit beyond all comprehension, funny as can be, super tall, sexy. Like, you just want to punch him right in the throat, basically.
Yeah.
And then you feel extremely guilty and want to make sure that he was okay. He's a wonderful human being. Like, he is all the hype and more. And I'm so glad, and I know we haven't really mentioned, but I'm beyond honored to have worked with Bruce Willis and Michael Rooker. And that Corrective Measures, I can't wait for it to come out. I think it's going to be special, like popcorn movie. Sit there, drool on yourself, have a fun ride. We're not curing any kind of anything. We're just having fun. But Chris Hemsworth is like those guys. Like, they have a presence and a power, and they're legends already in their own right for a reason. Yeah. And I was grateful to meet. Yeah. So holding his well chiseled, and this is for your sister. Well chiseled and muscle.
Her name's Stephanie.
Stephanie. It was everything I dreamed about and more.
There you go, Stephanie. There's a free cameo from Dan Payne.
Right. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. I think he booked Thor while we were doing Cabin in the Woods. I mean, I hit my head a lot and I've had a few concussions, but I think that rings a bell, or I'm just hearing bells. Either way, something in that was true.
Yeah. And then I actually I wanted to talk about the Bruce Willis movie, but I had one more question about Cabin in the Woods.
Yep.
I think these questions are usually hack and not really original, so I apologize. But did you ever
What's
meet?
your favorite color?
Yeah, exactly. It's blue. But
me too. Okay, now we have handsome and blue, and yeah.
So we have 5 things in common. This is great.
Yeah.
The 6th thing is your PR people is going to want to represent me just to screw up interviews. They're going to be like, hey, we'll get all the bad clients we really don't want. We'll have you interview. I don't know. Anyways, the question is this. Did you ever meet Richard Jenkins?
Yep, I met. Yeah.
How was he? Was he cool?
I for the blip of a meet for him, because they paraded. I was a zombie, so they paraded all the zombies in because they wanted to see what they looked like, and I got to come in and say hi, shake his hands. He has two. I shook both. He came in and shake his hand and say hi, but it was very brief. He was very gracious and kind, but it was very, very brief. I just it's just one of those tick the box things, like, holy crap, hi, Mr. Jenkins, and then out.
Well, the reason why I mention that is because he's one of my favorite actors, but he's also, like, in a way, he's kind of like you. He started off with small stuff, and then as his career went up, he got bigger stuff. So I was thinking, like, maybe he's like a good role model for people. You know what I mean? Yeah,
well, he sounds like he did the work, right? Like, I don't know. That's, for me, it was about doing the work, and
yeah,
I bet you he did. I mean, he's got the technician side of it, but he's also a creative soul, right? So that's a beautiful blend. He can do all the technical stuff and then throw this unbelievably unique, creative twist on everything. It's kind of, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
That's the dream.
And then your new movie with Bruce Willis. What are your thoughts about, since, this just happened last week, Bruce Willis is retiring. Like, what are your thoughts of that? And, like, how cool is it to know that you're in one of his last movies?
Booking, like, finding out that I got the role and knowing that I would get to meet and work and share screen time with Bruce Willis was as mind-blowing as anybody who, like, I grew up with him defining cool for me. Moonlighting and Die Hard is the best Christmas movie ever. I was already on cloud 9 to know that was just going to happen, and then to meet him also equally. He has such a presence. He looks $1 million. Like, Fountain of Youth looks amazing, bigger in person than I thought he'd be, because every time I meet actors, usually like the Tom Cruise thing. No offense, Tom.
Yeah.
He's just not super tall. But he's incredible.
For the folks at home, Dan's trying to say Tom is short.
Thank you. Yeah. Not anything else. He's amazing. And I would kill to work with him too. Not kill. That sounds wrong. But but yeah, to know that I got to be in one of his last 2 films is it's an honor. It's an honor and a gift that I didn't know, that I was already blown away by just meeting him, working with him, knowing I got to be in a film with him. But it's now that he's retiring and stepping away, to be in one of the last couple that's huge. I'm grateful for that opportunity. I'm grateful that I got he's a legend. I admire him. I know his career. So yeah, it might not mean as much to younger kids who are like, die who, where?
Yeah.
I think he actually transcends time. I think his iconic status transcends, like, everybody would know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling because I'm flustered. That guy it's Bruce Willis, man.
He's known for an action star, but a lot of people don't realize he had, like, some comedy chops too. Like, he did this movie. I don't remember what it was called, but it was really funny. It had Goldie Hawn and God damn it, what's her name? Marilyn Streep. And, like, they're dead or whatever, and he keeps bringing them back to life. You know what I'm talking about? And
rings a bell.
And he, like, pushes Goldie Hawn down the stairs or whatever. This is back when they were both hot. So, like,
I'm telling you, he still has the looks.
Yeah.
He's still got it.
What was it? Murder by Death or Death by Murder or something. I don't remember. Anyways, but he has the chops. That's what I'm trying to say. He's a funny dude.
Oh, and Moonlighting, did you? I don't know if you ever saw it. That's an older show, but he was very funny in Moonlighting as well.
Yeah. No, I never saw it.
Charm about him.
Oh yeah. I saw him in The Sixth Sense. For a movie that was that creepy, I actually thought he was kind of funny in it. And I don't know. I think that's the dark sense of humor I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I like it. I caught myself laughing.
Yeah. Like when his wife's just ignoring him. You know, like at this time people don't know he's dead. I'm just thinking, haha, that's how my parents act. Now, Dan, last question I had for you. Do you have any desire to go into like a writing or producing field? Because I feel just by looking at you, I could tell by the energy. I feel you have some stories in that heart of yours you just want to leach out.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. I'm actually writing a script right now with a friend of mine in Florida that we're excited about. And I definitely have dabbled in the writing world I need a friend I always need a friend, but I need a friend who knows writing, because the whole story arcs and there you go, to help me structure the story properly, because I've got all the ideas. I love the dialogue side of writing, but structuring a story, sometimes I can miss the middle act needs this piece and that piece, and but yeah, I definitely want producing. I definitely want to produce as well, because I want to have a little bit more say in what I put my creative world into. I want to have more say in the pieces that I perform and the characters that I play.
Oh, you want to hear a little writing trick for you? Because I write scripts, and this is how I write them. I've never sold any, so it's probably not good advice. But so when I write a script, right, on the screenplay and stuff, I write with my favorite actors in mind. So like every movie I write movies for John Cusack and Dan Payne. And I think, okay, they're going to do this movie because it helps give the character and the story flow.
I love that. And also that whole personality that you associate with that person comes through I love it.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, maybe if you're writing a sweet movie about an Asperger kid who does stand-up comedy and he meets another Asperger kid that he diagnosed.
Seems oddly specific.
Story started. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
When does the interview start? Because I've just been having a good time, man.
Oh, we're about to start right now. Yeah,
okay.
I was just trying to break the ice.
This is a hell of a warm-up. This is great.
Yeah. So, Dan, you're an actor, huh?
Yeah.
In all seriousness, where can the folks at home follow you and support you?
Oh, thank you. I am old, so I'm only really aware of Instagram at the moment. And then there's cool buttons that you can press that send it out to other things. So on Instagram, I'm at actor Dan Payne. Somebody already took Dan Payne, so it had to be actor Dan Payne. So I do things on Instagram, and then they get fed out to Twitter and Facebook. Haven't tackled TikTok yet. Scared of it. I watch my kids' brains get sucked right into it, and
stay away from TikTok, man.
We'll see. I'm trying. So far, so good.
That's like the one game I suck at.
Well, yeah. What are you talking about? Social media stuff or
no? TikTok, the game.
TikTok, yeah. My TikTok game is super weak. In fact, non-existent.
Victor, do you have any last second questions for the great Dan Payne before we let him go on TikTok?
This is a Mexican goodbye. You're just like, yeah, we just said goodbye like 20 minutes ago, and it's just like, hey, do you have anything else? It's just like, yeah, of course I do. I've a bunch of questions. I was just like, but if you want to answer them, I would love for you to. If I could only ask one question, which I'm going to ask right now. You don't have to answer it, but I mean, this is like based on the videos that you put on Instagram that connect to a Facebook, because that's what came up when I did the Google. That's what came up first, the Facebook. And so or at least on my search or whatever, but and so I wanted to know, what is the best advice that you could give entertainers that feel super depressed, but also have a professional obligation that they need to complete?
I feel like maybe a broken record, but because I've been in that situation, I kept it quiet. And I felt that I gave the professional obligation more weight, the external of the professional obligation more weight than the internal health that I needed to be able to thrive in the professional obligation. So I guess the best advice, and again, this is the broken record side, is find someone that you can talk to and just tell them. Start the conversation, and you'll find that you're not alone. And if you, again, I want to also, I've said this every time, thank you guys for sharing and giving me space to share. But if you find that you're feeling those things and you're struggling, there's going to be somebody in your life. It could be your brother, sister, mom, dad, parent, family, whatever, best friend, long lost aunt that just for some reason you're connected to, where you feel like you can talk to, or I don't know, if you have religion and your priest, pastor, or whatever is somebody that you feel, just say it out loud. I know that when I said it out loud, because I wanted to deny it for myself, when I said it out loud, it immediately lost power. And I think by giving it a name and taking its power away even slightly, it gives me a bit better chance to take control of what's going on. So the more I talk about it, the more, and this is again, as much cathartic and therapeutic for me, but I'm hoping somebody else finds the strength or courage or whatever it is to get there. Just tell somebody, just say it out loud to somebody. And then you're going to have to be accountable and responsible. And that person will be there for you. I can't guarantee anything, but I almost feel like I could guarantee that person will be there.
Well, Dan, you have my number, and if you ever need a laugh or whatever, I'll always, call you and cheer you up as best as I can. Like Norm did that for me when I first met him. He's like, here's my number. And if you're ever depressed, and you want to kill yourself, just call me and wait 48 hours. And if you don't hear from me, call me again and just wait 48 hours. And then he said, if you don't hear from me again after that 48 hours, try one more time. And if you don't hear from me, then try again. And then after the fourth time, then you can kill yourself. I don't know what that means, but it always cheered me up because he was always.
Oh my God.
I love you, Dan. And seriousness, thank you for letting me interview you. And thank you,
brother. Thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you for letting me make you smile. It really meant a lot to me.
I cannot thank you enough for the laughs and the smiles, man. My day is on the right path now, and I'm grateful.
All right, Dan. We'll talk to you later, buddy. Have a good day.
Take care, guys. Peace. See you, Victor.
See you later.
All right.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.